charge to say, don't make up rules, don't put in place rules that will stop us doing what we do that makes it so profitable for us. And these lobbyists have been hugely successful. That's why we don't have serious climate action, and we don't have serious action on nature or plastics or anything else to this day. It's because of the power of corporate interests. And they've been lobbying, they've been donating money to politicians for a long time. But what's happening now is it's like next level. Like they're literally writing legislation and giving legislation wholesale to the politicians, basically saying, here are the laws you can enact when you're in power. This is what happened in the UK with Policy Exchange and our police crimes and sentencing bill and the Public Order Act. It's scary times when the most powerful people are directly able to influence governments in a way that we as citizens can't. And this is really important because, one of the criticisms we often get as in the climate movement is people say, oh, but, there are acceptable channels for you to raise your voice. Go and vote.
Yeah.
Go and write to your MP. But if the legislation is literally being written by fossil fuel companies, for example, everyone will be aware of the anti-protest legislation. It's happening all over the world. Governments are cracking down on the rights to protest, but in the UK, this crackdown has been particularly hard. But the anti-protest legislation that has been put in place was lifted pretty much wholesale from a report by a think tank called Policy Exchange. And we know that Policy Exchange takes money from fossil fuel companies, and yet they advise the government on how to suppress the legitimate and human right of protest and dissent. So this is the growing power of the fossil fuel industry over governance systems in our industrialized countries is really shocking, and we think it's bad in this country. But tell us about this report that's coming out of the USA.
Well, yeah, it's a perfect segue into it. So there's a plan which is called Project 2025, which has been brought forward by American political right, let's say, and it says, our goal is to assemble an army of aligned, vetted, trained and prepared conservatives to go to work on day one to deconstruct the administrative state. Which doesn't sound very conservative to me, to dismantle the entire state. But anyway, it's usually the kind of thing that they accuse, ragtag activists of. So basically what they're saying is it would seek to block the expansion of the electrical grid for wind and solar, slash funding for the EPA, shutter the energy department's renewable energy offices, prevent states from going to California's electric car standards, and give Republican state officials more power to regulate polluting industries. So it's basically been put together by policy experts, lobbyists, industry consultants, Trump administration officials, and if it gets enacted, it's going to halt the green energy transition, shift agencies towards nurturing fossil fuels, and also legislate against reversing any of that in the future. So it's really, it's extreme, and I think it's a terribly bold thing to say that you want to deconstruct the administrative state alongside also, do this. But so, people have been talking about this and going, okay, this is a bit scary. What does it mean? But it would definitely feel, as in my line of work, it would make me feel like, okay, so maybe. So maybe there's, people often say there's not much you can do here. We're only 1% of emissions. Why don't you go to the China or the this or the that place where they're doing the real bad things? But it does feel like if you legislate this hard against like what needs to happen in the States, doesn't it make you just think, right, okay, well, go and stock up on dried food and move as far north as I can go. Maybe that's it. Maybe I'm not protesting anymore. Tell us what your reflections on it have been.
It's certainly worrying. It's not enough to make me stop the struggle so far. But I find it really interesting, actually, that they outright said, this is our battle plan.
Yeah.
Because to me, when you see that, when I first heard of this, I thought, right, the fossil fuel industry has essentially declared war on humanity here. And then I opened the doc, and they said it themselves. It was like literally the opening sentence. This is our battle plan. So it's just such an extreme example of how badly broken our political systems are.